some leaders who've been doing it for a very long time, and then leaders who are just getting started. And so with that kind of mixture, you definitely have help when you need it. And you also have new ideas and new blood because you have those younger people or new people coming in. And it's been a very wonderful experience for all of us.
Yeah, the other thing, and before, Amen Bilal, do you want to jump in? Because I'll just ask all these different questions.
Any,
Go ahead and jump in.
Dr. Patricia,
Yes.
with everything that you've mentioned so far in reference to how you started in education and also the brief history of the starting of the CMS network, is your what is your scope on like how you see right now, um, the importance of the theme? The theme we have right now is the importance of education for the African American Muslim communities. Could you speak to that in reference to what you have seen in your time coming up in the in participating in the education system with Muhammad School, and then to fast forward a little bit to the present? Like, what do you see in terms of the community, in terms of what's going on outside, and just in the education world in general? Like, what do you see right now in terms of the importance of education in the African American and Muslim communities?
Uh, the importance of education is our existence. We need our children to be taught who their creator is, to be taught to love their creator, and to be taught to obey their creator. And we are the ones that will have to do that. We are the teachers. We cannot give our children over to someone else to teach them who their creator is. Allah told all of us is that we are to worship him and to worship him alone. And that's our whole purpose on this earth, is to do that, right? So we have to teach that child. We have to do it. We have to show them how to do it. We have to be the models, the role models, but we also have to teach them. And in order for us to teach them, they have to be in our care. So we have the parents the parents have a role, and then the parents send their children to a school or a place where they're educated, and that education includes that. And it is so important for our own existence and for our children's success. Because I know sometimes we think about success being material wealth, material gain, but that's not the success that we want for our children. Not that we don't want them to have material wealth or material gain, but we want them to be happy and content. And the way you do that, you be happy by being happy and content requires you to be obedient to your creator. And so this is what we have to teach our children. And in the same time, we are teaching them the math, the science, the social studies, the physics, whatever it is that we have to teach, the academic. But we also have to let them see that our academic is not separate from what the creation. Because anybody who's created anything, who's discovered anything, or who has invented anything had to study the creation to do that. So that's what we have to teach our children. We have to let them see. So we have the phrase education in creation. Well, we want to teach our children. Our education has to be done through the creation. And so our children need to know that your reading, your writing, your math, your science, all of that is from creation. And Allah told us in the very first revelation that was given to Prophet Muhammad was read in the name of your Lord. And then he tells us how we were formed through the clot of congealed blood. And then he tells us, and this is in the same surah, he tells us that he taught man the use of the pen. Now, what you get? You get the blueprint for education right there. You get your reading, you get your science, you get your writing, you got everything right there in education. Then the first command that was given to Prophet Muhammad. So we want to make sure that our children, number one, know who their creator is, love the creator, respect and reverence the creator, and then understand that the creator created this everything for us, and what we have in creation we can gain our knowledge, and we can use this knowledge to increase it, to help ourselves, to help our families, and to help ourselves, help our community, and that's what we want.
Yeah, and so I love that you brought out the point about the fact that the academics are not separate from the natural world experience, right? Because when we think about education, so for me, when I think about young children going to school or just being in a classroom, usually you have some percentage of those children who are just not for it, right? They're just like, why am I in this classroom? What is this about? I don't want to be here. I'm not interested in learning this stuff, right?
Right.
And so the fact that you pointed out that the academics are not separate from the natural world brought to mind for me that potentially many of our children aren't making making the connection to the education that they're receiving because they're not able to relate it to things that are even of any importance to them, right? And so like, well, why am I learning, this specific concept or about this specific subject matter? It has nothing to do with my existence.
Exactly.
And you'll hear people as they get older sort of talk about, well, when I was in school, I didn't really understand how this connected to that because it wasn't taught to me that way.
Exactly.
And one of the unique things about the Clara Muhammad school system is that the connection, as you stated, is made to between the academics and Allah's creation, and it's not separated. And when you do that, you have a greater understanding of what it is you're learning and how it connects. And I feel like that allows our children to be more creative um, in discovery and development of things as they go forward in their careers and in their family lives, right? They're able to sort of structure things in a way that puts the pieces together in ways that others may not necessarily come to as easily
Right.
because those connections weren't made for them. So that I was happy that you made that connection about education in the natural world because um, in a mainstream school system, you don't always get that. You may get a unique individual who sort of brings it out in their classroom, but that's not duplicated in classrooms beyond that one.
Right.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. And then I guess along the lines of sort of extending the Imam Bilal's question about the importance of all of this, I want to talk about sort of the importance of the work that's being done in relation to education and specifically, the Clara Muhammad School. We know the story of at one time we had 40 however many schools. I hear that being told in various rooms and across various platforms, and now we're in a day where that 40 some odd schools is now somewhere like 12 or so. What's why even keep going? Why is it important?
For the very same reason that we mentioned earlier, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility for the children that we bring into this world, and to give them what is is best for them. And alhamdulillah, we have members of the CMS network, Leaders Network, who understand that, and they are working diligently to prepare um, uh, to prepare curriculum. We're working on professional development. We're working to help schools get started, new schools to get started. We are making the effort, and the excitement around doing so is just tremendous. And of course, the Allah has given us all the talent. So many people with skills and talent and eagerness to get this job. And why is it important? Because our life depends upon it. We got to be responsible for this. Allah's going to ask us. He'll give us skills. He's going to ask us, what did you do with that? So we got to be responsible for that. Not only that, what about our children? If we don't teach them, then they will not have what they need to be successful in the society that they live in the community that they live in, and nor will they have that love for Allah, which will give them that ultimate success. That success of content and happiness. We have so many children and so many difficulties, mental illness. We have children who are considering suicide. Who thought of that? Young children. I mean, that's been something that when I was growing up, that was not that was something we didn't think, we never heard about, right? But now we're hearing about. We have so many distractions. We have so many things that our children can get involved in that are not healthy things. So we have to be responsible for our children, and we have to do what Allah has given us the charge to do, and actually the ability to do. We have the ability to take care of our children, and so that's why it's important. We want our children. You want to be able to send your child off to college and to not really worry about that child, because you have instilled in him or her the love for his creator or her creator, and you know that they are going to strive to do the right thing. And when they have problems, because you have taught them, when they have problems, they're going to ask Allah for help. They're going to go to Allah for help. That they won't go to drugs, or they won't go to some other way of getting help. They're going to go to the right source. So we want to prepare them, and that's why it's so important. If we don't prepare them, who's going to do that for us? And Allah has given us all the opportunities to do it. He's given us everything that we need. We have the Quran, we have the life of the Prophet. We have scholars. We have classes we can join. We have many things that we can do. So we don't have to worry about our children in that manner. So that's why it's important.
Excellent, excellent. Just want to do a quick kind of intermission, but kind of not intermission. But for those who are just tuning in, this is NewFreedom Exchange. We are live. This is our continuation of the New Africa August programming. So we would thank everyone for tuning in. This evening, if you're just tuning in, we are with Dr. Patricia Salahuddin from the CMS Network, and we're talking about the importance of education in the African American and Muslim community. So if you're just tuned in, please like the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share this information widely. Help us share this information widely to your network, to your friends, etc., family members. Let them know that this information is being made available. We want to continue making the information available to you all, so it gives you all a chance to everyone to listen into those all organizations and various things that are happening in our community. Let you know that it's happening, it's rolling, And it's people that's they're working tirelessly, and they have been working tirelessly to save our institution, specifically to preserve the Claremont Muhammad school system and to build upon it. So therefore, we can have it for the next generation and generations to come. So thank you all for tuning in so far. For those who have tuned in and those who will tune in later to the recording. I think my question here that I have, Dr. Patricia, that you brought up some crucial points, and one way we think about sustainability for a community or for any group of people, that it's the fruit, it's the fruit that community bears. That's what it's the marking of us a sustainable community, is that the generations are coming, the fruit that bears from that tree, are equipped with the proper and necessary tools to be successful. At this point, the Claremont Muhammad school system has produced numerous successful people who have done marvelous things nationally and internationally, and continue to do marvelous things across the board in every field of occupation expertise that you can think of. Moving to this year and the rest of this year, going into the foreseeable short term and long term of the network, what do you all envision are some of the goals for the network moving forward for the rest of this year and going short term, the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line? What are some of the things that you all are looking forward to be doing?
Okay, great. Thank you for that question. Well, our goal is to we've set 1 to 2 year goals and 1 to 5 year goals. And with our professional development program, that's our 1 to 2 year goal. And what we want to do is have in place courses and standards for our professional development. And we have a team of people working on that as we speak. And then we have, for the 1 to 5 year, is an accreditation for the Claremont Muhammad school system. And we also want to have a teacher certification program that too will be considered a 5-year program. So 1 to 5 years, that's what we're working on, to have that done in the next 5 years. And with a teacher certification. So it means that we will certify, and one of our sisters like to say, clarify, using the word Sister Clara Muhammad, clarify our teachers, making sure that they are teaching with the method that will ensure that our children are getting Quranic based information or Quranic based lessons when they are teaching. So we have the professional development program, and the team is working on that. We expect to have, of course, this will be ongoing, but we expect to have something that's concrete in 1 to 2 years. And with the accreditation of our schools, we want to be able, that's a 5-year, more like a 1 to 5 year program. We want to be able to accredit our schools. We want to have standards for the Claremont Muhammad school system, and we will be able to accredit the schools based on those standards that we have, that they meet. We also want to have a unified curriculum framework within the next 5 years. So we have a team of people working on that as we speak. We also want to design methods to raise funds. So our schools do not run on air. We need money. So just doing a banquet every year is not enough. We want to come up with creative ideas for fundraising. So if anyone can hear my voice and you have a creative idea to raise funds, please share that with us, because we do want to have a way to support our schools and make them sustainable without having to constantly go to do banquets and different things like that, which normally doesn't raise the amount of money that we need. And we always want to keep reproducing. So we want to make sure that we're supporting the opening of new schools. So we do have a team of people working to help new schools to open. and that's something that we're doing right now. We're working on that now. In that there are schools there are people who are expressing a desire to open schools. So we are here and to help them to do that. And Sister Marsha is actually a part of that, so she can, if she wants.
Yes. I was like, that's my committee.
Yeah, that's her committee. So she wants to add something to that. She may please do.
No, I
Yeah.
think you laid it out perfectly. You know, we've been working diligently to get a structure in place to really make this a system and the system that it was intended to be. And it's a beautiful work to be a part of. And so I'm gonna throw my next question was gonna be, well, how can the community help? But you've sort of kind of laid that out, and that, you know, sending those ideas or coming up with those ideas around fundraising is really a big component, because as we approach this work, it does take finances. And so I'll switch up my final question to is the Clara Muhammad School been, because when we talked about having this show, right, it was around education, not just for the Muslim community but also for the African American community, right? And so I wanted to get your take on the Clara Muhammad school system being beneficial to the African American community in general, right? Most people, I think, when they think about the school, they think about Muslim children attending the school. But I really wanted us to also have just a brief moment to speak to African American children in general benefiting from the education that's provided in the school system.
Great question. Imam, when you listen to some of his speeches, especially around education, you'll hear him say once in a while about including everybody. Helping everybody. You can't just help your children. You got to help everybody, because if you don't, you still have a problem, right? So we are open to anybody and everybody who wants to join us. And in fact, in the school that I've had the most experience with is the school here in Miami. And we've always been open to everybody. Our school, right now, the majority of the students that are in the school are from the community. They're not Muslims. And I've actually spoken to some of the parents, and they have told me, look, I like the fact that the sisters they represent morality, and they're here. They'll be teaching my children. That's what I want for my children. I want my children to see those kind of people in every day. I want my children to be in an environment that's safe and that is represents morals and standards, and that's what I see in this school, and this is what I want. So our school has always been open to everybody. In fact, some of our students that we've graduated were from Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Hispanic, in Malaysia. We've educated everyone, and then the community, African American community. The majority of the students in our school right now are from the African American community. So we're here to serve everyone, because everyone's the bit that whatever we can give you is to make you happy and make you a better person. That's good for everybody.
Excellent. So, Dr. Patricia, you all at CMS Network are doing some marvelous work, and we here at NewFreedom Exchange are at your service whenever you need, and however we can be of assistance to you all. We really do appreciate the work that you all are doing in the community to keep up the legacy of our beloved institution, and actually advance it further, and make it, as you beautifully explained it, a institution that serves humanity,
Mm-hmm.
because that's essentially what the Imam Muhammad wanted us to expand the system to, is to get it to that point where you're talking about a state-of-the-art institution, You know what I'm saying? That serves humanity, that provides opportunities, that, that everyone is like the go-to. Like, you gotta send your children to Glen Muhammad School. Like, we should be driving around the MTA. Like, I'm in New York, so like I'm always looking forward to the day that we can have advertisements on like the buses and the trains, like with our students, and like Glen Muhammad School, like get your students enrolled, like, like Times Square type of stuff, like blow it out the window. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying? Like, so I think we're coming close.
we are.
We're coming close to that point, and it's no better time than now to have this institution available for people to use and take advantage of. It's no better time with the status of, like I explained earlier, with the violence that's going on in our communities. It's one education is so crucial to a lot of those things. It helps to cure a lot of those things. So, and getting rightly solid, morally, spiritually grounded education is something the Claremont Muhammad school system has been doing for years, and something that makes us very, very, very different and stands out to a lot of people. And they're very impressed, like you said, with our caliber of students that we graduate that come out of our institutions. So I would like to say for myself, thank you to Dr. Patricia Salahuddin and your team there at CMS Network for all the work that you all are doing. And again, we really look forward to helping you all and seeing how you all grow within the coming years, coming months, actually. Well, I want to say coming years because we still have time. So coming months. But before we let everyone go, Sister Marsha, if you have any closing thoughts before we pull up some announcements.
No, just wanted to again thank Dr. Patricia for coming on and having this conversation with us about education and how important it is in our community and the work that's being done. And I look forward to all that we will continue to do. So thank you again for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Patricia Salahuddin. Send our salams to the Muslim community down in Miami. We'll be down there soon, inshallah. Dr. Nasir Ahmed, I know he's down there, and the crew down there. So can't wait to get to the palm trees down in Miami. Thank you, Doctor. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you, and thank
Thank
you,
you.
Masha. Look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wa alaikum assalam. All right. That concludes our first half. That concludes our first half of our show today. So quickly, I would like to take the liberty of doing some quick announcements before we bring on our next guest, who's here in the queue. We'll try to make this expeditiously fast, but coming up, we have a lot of events coming up. Like September is going to be super packed, super busy. So these are some of the events, and these are some of the highlight events. There's obviously much more, but a big event coming up is the Culture Extravaganza, a special Muslim Journal cultural concert, which was hosted by Masjid Al-Haq in Newark, New Jersey. Please come. Tickets are on sale now, virtually and in hard copy tickets. We have hard copy tickets on sale, and also the virtual hard copy tickets are $40, and the virtual tickets are $25. It will be, if you're coming, Sister Sawad has put together an amazing concert. Actually, this is not the newest flyer, but we'll rock with it right now. Sister Sawad has put together an amazing lineup of artists, including herself, and they will be performing at Cityplex 12 Theater, 360 Springfield Ave in Newark, New Jersey. Refreshments will be available for purchase, and please come out, because the Muslim Journal is making some big news, making some big headway right now, and as we all know, that the headquarters has now shifted to Masjid Al-Haq in Newark, New Jersey. So a lot of things about to happen. So if you can't make it, at least buy our virtual ticket if you can't be there in physical form. We'll be streaming it live on NewFreedom Network, so we will be handling the streaming for that. So the Muslim Journal thanks everyone in advance for the generous support, but please, we need the tickets to come in. So if you're watching right now, if you haven't ordered your ticket, make your plans to today or tonight/tomorrow. Next, we have the Muslim Cultural Con that will be doing their virtual launch September the 3rd. It's Labor Day weekend. The importance of taqwa is their theme. That'll also be streamed here live on New Freedom Network, and that is at 6 p.m. Eastern. This is for all free and open to all. There will be prizes. There will be conversations. The keynote will be Imam Rashad Abdul Rahman from the Atlanta Masjid of Al Islam, Assistant Imam, also the founder of the Quran Study Leadership Institute, will be the keynote on the topic of the importance of taqwa, and the rest of our beautiful young people, fellow young adults, as mentioned, shown there, will be moderating the conversation, and should be a fun night, a light night or a light conversation. This is just a appetizer to the bigger conference that they're planning to happen soon. So if you can, to jump on and support the young adults who are putting on a virtual event, a virtual launch of their platform, please feel free to tune in. It's a free event, so definitely try to come out and support them as well. And lastly, but certainly not least, for right now, we have well, that's not the wrong flyer for Study Al Islam, but Study Al Islam is having their conference, the big conference on the Imam Muhammad and his contributions, his legacy, his commentary in Chicago at the September 23rd. It's an all-day conference. That's Saturday. So please make your arrangements. It will be at the American Islamic College University in Chicago, and that's sponsored by Study Al Islam and been put together by Sister Fitra Muhammad and the various sponsors there. So please get your tickets as well. We'll have the flyer up for that at the end of our second half of the show.
Okay, so now let's move on to part 2 of the education component of New Africa August. So we just had a conversation with Dr. Patricia Salahuddin about education as it relates to our children and ensuring that they receive that academic foundation that they so need in an environment that is conducive to them becoming upright individuals, right? And so now we want to turn that conversation over into more of it. So that was sort of the academic education conversation. So now we want to talk about the Islamic education component. And we have with us today our guests from the Islamic Learning Institute. So I want to go ahead and bring them in so we can learn about who they are, what the Islamic Learning Institute is, and talk about learning from that Islamic lens. So without further ado, we are bringing on our sisters, Anisa Dewan and Nadia Ahmed. So assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you all?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Alhamdulillah, doing good. And thank
Great
God
to
for
see
the
your
opportunity.
smiling faces.
Yay! I'm always smiling, girl. I'm always smiling. I don't know if I know how to do. Well, I don't know. Sometimes my kids make me.
Right. What you say? They make me go sideways, and then I have to smile like this.
Right. Exactly. I might have did that earlier today. But thank you so much for joining us in our discussion about education. We wanted to make it a comprehensive discussion, so we didn't just want to talk about academics. We also wanted to talk about religious education and its importance, and not just saying I'm Muslim or whatever people ascribe to, and not really diving into learning more about whatever that thing is. So we're interested to learn more about you all individually, but also about the Islamic Learning Institute. So give it to us.
Well, let Sister Nadia start off. She has the greater history of ILI, so inshallah she'll give that, and then we can talk about present.
All right, alhamdulillah. First of all, I really want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here and to address the works that we're doing that Allah has blessed us with. So I'm Sister Nadia Ahmed. I am one of the widows of Imam Qasim Ahmed. And of course, I
Mm,
worked with him for 25 years, traveling across the country, helping him to prepare his
mm,
notes and research, And I never really thought that that work was going to lead me to where I am today, trying to carry on the legacy of his life's work, without him, of course. But, we plan, but Allah is definitely the planner. So here we are today, carrying on the work that we started with Imam Qasim started this work. I want to say over 40 years ago. As a student of the Quran, one of first reading the Quran in English, and he said it bothered him so much. Keep looking at that Arabic. Now, what is that saying? I know what this is saying, but what is that? So he always felt like there was a difference in the two. And of course, Allah guided him to be able to be educated in a way where he could share what he got, what he studied over the years. He would be able to share it with the community, and the love that he had for the Quran, and the love that he had for the community, and wanted to share that knowledge with the community. So, and I think what we're doing today, Islamic Learning Institute, is a continuation of what Imam Qasim Rahimahullah worked so hard for all those years, right? And but toward the end, the traveling had been really tremendous for him to continue to do. And so we're already kind of looking at virtual learning. So today, he used to say that Islamic Learning Institute was a mobile Islamic institution. So today we say it's virtual. And so virtual is the modern term for what we could do without exhausting ourselves to reach many people. And so we picked up the tools, after he transitioned, to his next life. We picked up the tools and just I just, as a school teacher, first of all, I am a semi-retired school teacher, and so I was used to building lessons using PowerPoints, and so that's what I picked up to begin the Islamic Learning Institute, the virtual aspect of it, to create. So I took what I'd gotten from Imam Qasim and I created a 12-week program where you could learn how to read the Quran basically with the letters, the vowels, the basic information you need to be able to read and sound off the Arabic. And so that's what we started. We started with 8 students, and we went from 8 students to second semester. We had 12 students to enroll. And after that semester, we went into Ramadan. So during the month of Ramadan, we were inspired to start reading the Quran in Arabic for the whole month of Ramadan. We read for 2, sometimes 3 hours. We would finish a juice in Arabic. So we had like 100 and some people to register for that, but the majority of them were just there to listen because they didn't know how to read the Arabic. We thought we were going to get all these people in there that's going to read the Arabic, right? So it didn't happen that way. So we end up just a few of us that could actually read it, and we did some teaching with a lot of people that wanted to come in and read. But it was so inspiring that that's what Allah really blessed us that Ramadan, because our numbers went from 12 to 50 something. Then it went to 67 and something, and went all the way up to 200 and something enrollees in Islamic Learning Institute. So the program is expanded. We started out with one course, and that was just the basic beginning Quranic Arabic with one teacher. The next semester we had 2 teachers, so we offered a Sunday and a Monday. And then after that, I just one day I was just walking, I just reached, I said, "Oh Lord, we need help." I knew we needed help, so I tried to get Sister Nisa to come in earlier, but she was busy. She's a busy person, and so she wasn't ready at that time. So Imam Hatim Hamidullah out of Orlando, he agreed to come in. He was Imam Qasim's first Arabic student in the city of Dallas, Texas. So he was still very connected with his legacy and wanted to be a part of it. So he came on board and he helped us. And finally, alhamdulillah, you see that sister sitting right there? Allah sent her to us and voila, okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Everything just went like boom, a big explosion. And so we just been climbing ever since. She came in and she said, well, what do you? I said, what do you want to teach? When she said she wanted to teach, so she started naming things and she said Tajweed. I said, that's it, Tajweed. So she has really expanded the Tajweed program. It's really our reading program because one of the things that Imam Qasim wanted to follow this pattern. He said that the first revelation came to Prophet Muhammad was to read. Iqra.
Mhm.
And so learning how to read the Quran became very significant for him. And one of the things I remember he had asked Imam Muhammad, well, how can we eradicate the fitna in our community among the believers? And Imam Muhammad's response, rahimahullah, laid to both of them, was that when our community learned how to read the Quran in its original language of Arabic, he said, then we will begin to eradicate the fitna in our community. And I said, I have to think on that, because I said, well, they need to do more than just read the Quran. They need to study the Quran, but the reading is the first initial step. You have to you have to learn to read it before you can study it in its original language. And so that led us to the idea of sticking with starting off with the reading. So we're working on perfecting the reading, and we incorporated the grammar because we want to do more than read. And I understand that process now. And so pretty much that's where we are now. We have like 20 some courses we're offering. We have about 13 teachers, qualified teachers, and many of them started with, some of them, not many of them, some of them started with ILI from the very beginning course, and now they're coming back to teach. And so this is where Allah has taken us with what we're doing. This is with Quranic education, which is the foundation for education, period. And it is the foundation for our lives, not only as Muslims, but as human beings, because Allah addresses us in the Quran more often than Muslim, O ye who believe. And so that lets me know that he's addressing humanity. So I don't know if that was a good enough introduction.
Let me tell you something. That was more than good, sister. Okay,
Right.
I'm appreciating hearing the story because I didn't know it. So I definitely appreciate hearing the story and you taking us through the journey.
Mm-hmm.
For me, and like Bilal knows, like I'll get on here and just ask all the questions. So I am going to let you talk, and and I am going to let Sister Anissa talk as well. But for me, it just brings to mind for me, like, just wanting to know, like, why, and I guess, Sister Anissa, you can probably answer this, like, why it's so important for us to just not be like, okay, I took Shahada, I'm Muslim, that's it. I'm just go chill over to the left.
Yeah, mashallah.
Because sometimes we watch people do that, and we may have even been guilty of it at some phase in our lives, but then we come to this knowing that it's important. You gotta kind of know what you sign up for, right? You don't just kind of go and apply for a job and take the job and not know what they expect of you. So can we talk a little bit about, like, why is this so important? Why is this education around our religion so important?
So, something you said, I was talking to one of our instructors just yesterday, right? And we're building so many different relationships with our instructors. It's just not like this one-sided, or just, oh, we're just doing this. No, like this is like a family of people that are developing and evolving together. And even someone that interviewed me that's doing a doctoral thesis on leadership, how leadership affects religious identity. And one of the questions as he was leading in was the discussion of what does it mean to be Muslim. And he said, for him, he's asking me personally, right? And he said many people gave him, he said, your answer is different than most people gave me. He said, most people told me when I asked them, what does it mean to be Muslim? They gave me the 5 pillars, right? He said, that's what it means to be Muslim. And I explained to him, Buni al-Islam ala khamsa, right? I explained to him the hadith that when Muhammad, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was asked, what is al-Islam? I said, so when people hear that, they're answering to you, what is al-Islam? But your question wasn't, what is al-Islam? Your question was, what does it mean to be Muslim? And the answer that I gave him is that to be Muslim is to journey back to Allah, to return to a state in which you came from in the beginning. And that is a constant process of evolution. It requires a constant process of evolving and growing and learning, because we can never know enough. right? We can never, and in order for us to say, I'm getting closer to Allah, I'm worshiping Allah more, I'm doing more, I have to be in a constant state of learning more. So although we accept al-Islam, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, he said that of the Arabs, right? Some people like said that of the Arabs, right? He just says of the Arab that they say that they believe in Allah. And he said it's better for you to say that I have accepted this faith, but don't say that I believe, because faith has yet to enter into the heart of the person. So although we accept al-Islam on our surface, we're saying, yes, I believe Allah is one God, and I believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his messenger. But it's another process. It's an evolution, right? You actually have to become and evolve into this state of fully being Muslim, right? And that's why you have to continue your education. That's why we can't just say, okay, I've learned enough. That's why you can't be complacent and say, I've been Muslim 40 years. And that's why you can look back at your own life. I don't even care if you've been born Muslim and you're 40 years old and you're 30 years old, and you can find somebody who accepted Islam 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're reading Quran better than you. They know more understanding better than you. And you're like, what's going on here? It's because they understand that in their fervor, when they first accept, it's like, oh, let me get in there, right? So I'm saying, even it doesn't really matter in what state you come into al-Islam. You have to know, like without a shadow of a doubt, that you are evolving. And in order to do this evolution and return to Allah both pleased and pleasing, it requires cultivation. It requires us to cultivate our souls. And there is no better cultivation of the soul than Quran, right? That's literally telling you, it's giving you the tools of cultivation. So that's what I'm going to tell you, right? That's the importance of it, inshallah.
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Excellent, excellent. Now we have the history of the Islamic Learning Institute. We have that. We have what it means to be at least on nice level one. You know, I think Sister Anissa gave us level one. I mean, obviously we can stay here all night and talk about what it means to be a Muslim. So that's level one. Now, our theme is for tonight's discussion, and I think it's very relevant moving forward, is the importance of education for the African American and Muslim community. So now we have this language of the Quran, the Quranic Arabic, and the importance of reading the Quran in Arabic. Now, can we talk about that? Like, you know, this language, which is very rich, and it has impactful meaning, and you know the need for more people to know the importance of reading the Quran in Arabic for themselves than relying on the transliteration from the famous translators that exist. Can we talk about that, and like, you know, how, and even you all's journey to learning Arabic? How, make it personal. How was that? Like, you know, because people say, well, it's easy. Some people say maybe hard or difficult, challenging. Can we make it a little real here for the people who are listening? Like, how was you all's Arabic journey?
I like that. He said,
what you
make
say,
it real.
how is the Arabic journey?
Yes,
right?
how is we're still learning. We're still learning.
Yeah, we still on the journey.
Yeah,
We on the journey.
Excuse
Well, you know
me.
what? I would like to share with you, for me,
Yes.
my own personal experience, because I've been a Muslim for probably over 40 years. I haven't really calculated exactly, but I know it's somewhere there. And
Alhamdulillah.
so it really took a really, really long time for me to really learn how to read the Quran in Arabic. Most of those years I didn't know. I relied totally on the English. And so uh, one year, a brother, Imam Fakmi Sabri, came to Shreveport, Louisiana, and he taught us how to read. Well, he gave us the beginning tools. He taught us the alphabet family system. Y'all know what that is? The alphabet family system. So for the first time in my life, I realized that it was achievable. I had been in classes before, and most of the time it was immigrants that was teaching them, and I would always leave, and I'm like, Man, that's like trying to learn Chinese, right? Strokes and curves and stuff. So it never really resonated with me. And so, um, and eventually I got it, but that was the beginning. I learned the family system. I never forgot it. I taught it everywhere I went. My children knew the letters backwards, forwards, upside down. We learned the three basic vowels, but I still didn't really know how to learn the Quran. So I learned some years later as I continued to progress and was married to Imam Qasim. I did learn how to actually read the Quran, but I had never read the Quran in its entirety before. I tried a couple of times, but like I read and I read and I still always look, dang man, I still got a long ways to go. And I would
Yeah, this
give up.
book long.
I would give up every time. So 2019, right? And I can remember many nights Imam Qasim would get up and he would be studying all in the nights. And he said, Nadia, and I'm saying, I'm sleepy. I would be tired. I couldn't hang. I didn't understand what was resonating in his soul
Mm.
until the first time I read the Quran in its entirety, which was in 2019, right? And I was like almost halfway through. I said, "You're not gonna stop." And I started at the beginning of Ramadan that year. I said, "You're not gonna stop. You're gonna finish this time." It took me almost 4 months, but I didn't stop. So when I finished reading, I said, "Wow!" I said, "Lord," but I said, "I did it." I felt so good on the inside. I said, "Shoot, I'm gonna keep going." I started reading again all over. But what happened to me in that process, I started highlighting stuff. I grabbed my dictionary. I couldn't get out the Quran. I found myself spending hours in the Quran. I said, this is what Imam Qasim was going through. When you devote yourself to trying to learn the words of Allah in its original language, that's the next step. Read it, learning to read it is one thing, but learning to read it will take you on another journey. And that other journey will take you, oh my goodness, you get lost in it. I find myself and I say, oh my God, I've been studying the Quran. I got stuff highlighted. I'm taking notes. I'm looking words up. That's studying the Quran. Reading the translation is okay. It served its purpose, but it's time out for that. And so what I found out was sometimes I would look at that and I said, but why? I began to question the translation. So I look words up myself. I said, but it says this here. Why did they translate this like this? It's the word choice that they made. And one of the things that really stuck with me the most is I was reading a verse from the Quran, and so it was like Allah was referencing Prophet Muhammad, and it was like, don't be like Adam. I said, what did Adam do? So I kept reading. So he said, Adam didn't have the resolve. I said, oh, okay. He didn't put enough into it. He didn't stick with it. This is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to process it. So I looked the word up in Arabic. And so the word that really jumped out to me was determination. So I really used that a lot, among my students and the participants. And I said, you have to have the determination. So what happened to Adam? He got relaxed in the garden. He forgot his purpose. So, but if you're determined, strong enough, you have a strong enough determination, you will not get relaxed. You will stay focused. You will stay on the track that Allah has put you on. So just these things that resonate with me as a person that really keeps me motivated. I was asked the question like, where do you get the energy from to do the things you do at your age? Because I'm 71 years old, right? I say it's the energy of praise.
And
When I get in that Quran and when I'm teaching that, and I'm not see now, I didn't understand why Cosm would be sick. And I said, but Cosm, you're not. He said, Nadia, he said, let me get ready so we can go. And he would go out and get out on that roster and started teaching. Everything went away. Whatever sickness he had, the pain, it was gone. So that's what we call the energy of praise. So when you get involved in the Quran on that level, your soul becomes illuminated. Your love for Allah, your love for the Quran, your love for the Prophet, your love for the community, it grows. And that becomes your focus for your life.
me,
That's my journey and that's my personal experience.
me.
Beautiful.
So one thing when Sister Nadia, she gave the history to everyone of the Islamic Learning Institute. And I want to take this time just because this fits into my journey and Sister Nadia's journey. that is still going on. I'm saying this isn't a journey that we get to end. It's a journey that returns us to Allah. And then when we get to Allah, it's a journey that is allowed to move forward with absolutely no hindrance in its way once we make it to paradise, right? So this isn't even a journey, if you can understand, the return to Allah in this pleased and pleasing mode is one that we're saying that even once we get to the paradise, which is what Adam forgot, right? Is that when we get there, it's still the garden. A garden requires cultivation, even in the garden. And the beauty of the paradise is that Satan can't enter into that garden now. Right? Is that his effect in that garden at that state after we've gotten down and made it back? That once you make it back, Satan won't have the movements. He won't have the capacity that he had before when we got put out, right? Because now we've evolved to a state that, guess what? We're like Omar. You know, it said that some of the hadith that it talks about, Satan would run from Omar. Right? He would say, why do the people run from me in this? And even the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, even Satan, when Satan sees you coming, he takes another direction. Because I got to try a different direction because Omar was brutal, right? Against him. So I'm saying the believer will evolve to that. Well, the Islamic Learning Institute, and I was listening to Dr. Patricia Salahuddin, mashallah, she's one of our students, one of our top students, alhamdulillah. And as she was talking about education, I want you all to understand really what we're talking about at ILI. We have young scholar courses, right? So we're developing, even inside of the institute, a Claire Muhammad School affiliate that will be able to bring the fullness of Quran to the young people, that will parallel and also evolve to the point that it will be a high school inside of the university. So, you know, there's a lot of models now that many universities have high schools in them. Right? Yeah. Because they're actually developing. So we haven't forgot about the young people. This is truly a progression of education for the whole life. Inside of the institute, it's actually not just quote unquote Islamic education. Quran is, Allah says, I am the Rabbil Alameen, right? I am the Rabb, the evolver for every system of knowledge that is ever to be known. So even the systems of knowledge that haven't been discovered yet, that aren't known yet, all of those systems of knowledge are encompassed in the Quran in total. So it's not actually an option to study the world and then don't study Quran, because you won't actually know how to operate in the world. The world will be able to give you information that is abusive to the environment, and you won't know it unless you're able to check it with what the creator who made the whole world and you with that. Well, that's Quran, right? That's revelation. Well, our model is actually not just an institute of Islamic sciences. We are building an institute of full learning. So our goal is to deliver out doctorate degrees. Our goal is to deliver out engineering, sociology, physiology, whatever ology and science that the world has to offer, and to even deliver out the sciences that the world doesn't realize it needs yet. But at our base, we have applied tafsir courses that go with every single discipline. So you're talking about delivering out sociologists that have the capacity to go into the Quran in the fullness of the Arabic, and now they have this science, but they have the base of Quran as his mother, and they will change what that discipline looks like. The Muslims changed the world in deliverance of a mere zero in the numbering system. That deliverance of that thought process, it has forever changed the world. It didn't just change what happened then. We are still building on that reality now. Before, without that zero, and we have to understand what this means. The zero and the one, right, which is what our whole computing system is based on. is zeros and ones,
Mhm.
zeros and ones, zeros and ones. Zeros is a womb environment, and the one is a phallic symbol. You're talking about masculine and feminine. You're talking about this reality that comes together, and when it comes together, in that it reproduces, it reproduces, reproduces. So ILI is a womb environment that is meant to deliver out education in its proper form. That means it's based first in God, and then it delivers out for the rest of the world, right? So we have Catholic institutions, we have Jewish institutions, we have Baptist institutions. We go to them. Georgetown, Yeshiva University, Notre Dame. We go to these institutions and we receive degrees. Well, at ILI, you will be able to come to ILI in 5-10 years, and you can get any degree. And you'll be able to do a Hafiz of Quran, you'll be able to do Tafsir. All of that will be built into your understanding. So with our journey that we're on in learning is that even at ILI now, reading the Quran phonetically is just the beginning. Right now in our grammar courses, as people are going through and learning, they're even evolving to the point where you literally, and I'm saying we'll be graduating high school students that will be able to go to the Quran and fully diagram it and pull out meaning that people have never heard before. Why? Because that's the capacity of every human being. You will go in with your experience. You will be able to pull out and extract, because don't believe that the revelation is complete in its understanding, complete in its reality that Allah has presented. But even Muhammad, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said there will be people after you that will understand this better. Look at all of the verses of the Quran that we accept them, but we don't fully know what they mean. So the whole point of the Islamic Learning Institute is to deliver out what is meant to be delivered out from the African American experience. And people come to us now, they come to us for tajweed, right? And they say, mashallah, the exactness in this tajweed you're giving, I don't even hear this from other reciters. I said, I understand. I understand what you're telling me, but I'm telling you, you can even go to that reciter if you were able to go to them and ask, is what this person is saying, is this correct? Yes, that's correct. That is the best idea and way to recite the Quran, even if I made the error. So we literally, even in the vocalization of the Quran, we're delivering out a standard that is of the highest of standards. So people will come to ILI in the future, and it will be like Timbuktu was to Mali and the world. And they will say, what is this high level of education? If you ask somebody about where is the best place to go to receive a calligraphy degree and learn about calligraphy, Arabic calligraphy in the world, they're going to tell you, go to Istanbul, Turkey. There's no discussion. Nobody's going to debate it. Nobody's going to say that's what they're going to say, right? I said what we are evolving into and what we are developing truly comes from our history. This is what Imam Muhammad asked for. This is what his father asked for. This is what we've been moving towards. This is why the African American is here in America. This is why the slave was brought over to deliver up this thing to the rest of the world. Every group of people have something to deliver to the world, and this is what we have to deliver to the world. And they will say, where do you go to the best levels of education? You go to ILI.
Allahu Akbar, Takbir.
Something. I'm like dropping the mic, sis. I am dropping the mic.
Dropping the mic.
I'm like, I don't even have no more questions because
I'm sitting there thinking, Sister Anissa, I think you answered all the questions on the list.
Because as you were both talking, what I was thinking about, like when I think of the Quran, right? And I think about my experience as being a Muslim, and when I accepted Islam, I didn't study or anything like that, right? And so I would say that my experience with studying really has come within the last 2 years, right? But when I think about what I know now about the Quran, the Sunnah, the Prophet Muhammad, right, the Tafsir of Imam Muhammad, I think of that stuff as toolkits, right? And so in my mind, I'm just kind of like, well, how are people getting through life without this stuff, right? And so as you were both talking, Sister Nadia, about her journey with the Arabic, and then Anissa with the whole drop the mic moment. But I was just thinking, my initial question was going to be around, like, how to use this as a toolkit to get through life, and then you just sort of answered that and then beyond. So that's why I was saying, like, I don't even know if I have another question, because you didn't answer it already. But I do think of it as that. And so as we're having the conversation about education, both academic and the religious or Islamic perspective, and even, we just had the whole conversation about how it's really your connection to your creator, right? So we say Islam, and sometimes when people hear that, it's sort of like, oh, well, that's not for me, because
yes.
And so that, I'm like, well, this is all sort of like, I'm thinking of having my backpack, like I'm Dora with my backpack. What's in here? Or Blue's Clues with my backpack. What's in here that I can use as a tool to get through this life? And so that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about education, and why it's important to learn, and not just to say, okay, I am who I profess that I am, and I'm done.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, when people are starting to go through these courses, so as people are learning, right, that they've been Muslim, kind of like you say, for the last 2 years, you felt more empowered. I don't even have to know what you've studied, but you feel more empowered. You feel more Muslim, right? You're like, I was Muslim before, but let it be known, I'm really like, I'm going in hard right now.
I'm Muslim.
Yeah, I'm Muslim. I'm activating my Islam right now. So people are going through, and as they do these things, it's sparking things, and it's letting people know. So even as this person was asking me what is Muslim, and I told him, I said, if you ask me, are you Muslim? I'm going to say, you're on the same journey I'm on. This is why Muhammad, the Prophet ﷺ, said that every person is born Muslim. Every person is born with this thought process and this energy of moving and returning to Allah. You all have this. It is other people who lay on you labels and thoughts and ideas, because being Muslim is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action, it's a doing. People have to do this, whether you accept it or not. Whether you agree or not, all of us are evolving in this journey. But some people are given the tools because they accept the reality that God is one God, and that He's given us a rule book, something to learn and to use in order to develop these tools. And so when we start teaching in this fashion and really giving people answers, I'm saying real answers to questions that are puzzling the human mind right now. It's not the Muslim mind, the human mind. When you start delivering out answers for people, trust me, they recognize truth. Right? Truth, you don't have to do anything else, right? You don't have to beg the people to come. People are going to come in groves. Why? Allah says it. And when you see them coming in groves, what do you say? You say, I praise Allah, right? Because I didn't do it. We have these conversations all the time. We grow, we average now anywhere between 150 and 200 students inside of a semester. And every semester we grow, right? And in the next year, we're doing strategic growth, meaning it's not just going to be what the students require or what they desire in order to keep increasing in their knowledge level. We're going to offer things to them that we know they need, right? New Muslims, we're offering things that we know people need. And as they get these things, it's going to naturally grow us right to where we're going. But Allah keeps sending us people. Allah keeps sending us resources, because we're not just doing this work to say, we're doing what Allah requires, and Allah will make the thing happen. We don't have to do anything. We are not doing anything. Allah wants to manifest to the world. What does it look like, right? Even the longest standing institution of higher learning right now that exists today is an institution that was started by a Muslim woman, right, in Morocco. These are facts, right? So education, and some of it has been lost, right? Even in our Islamic education, because we keep trying to line it out as Islamic education. Right? No, Al-Islam is a way of life for all people. It's not something that It truly is. It answers questions for humanity. And that's how we present it. I Ally is an answer for humanity. It's an answer for education, and it's an answer for the soul, inshallah.
You know, you made me think about Sister Nista. You made me think about Imam Qasim, his mission. And when he first said the mission, he said it's to encourage millions of people to read the Quran. I said, really, Qasim? I said, millions? He said, yes, right here in America. You know, I said, right. I said, millions of people. So yeah, that's like one of the goals that we want to incite and encourage and prepare. You know, we have unique techniques that we use to make it easy. Because Allah says what in the Quran? "Walaka yasruna Quran al-dhikr faham min mutakir," and that He has made it very easy. But there is a condition. And the condition depends on you as an individual and how much of yourself you want to dedicate to it. And so, yeah, so that is so important. All the things she said is almost like you're inside somebody's head, Sister Anissa, because everything you said is just, I mean, it's like somebody gave you a script, but it is perfect. It is so perfect. It's so in line with the desire and intentions and aspirations of not only Imam Qasim, but I know for sure Imam Muhammad. Imam
I
Muhammad
mean,
said, we have to establish institutions.
right here on the shores of
Yes,
North America, right here.
right here, institutions.
Hmm.
And so that, you know, and he's also said, give me a good future. So we got a lot of work cut out for us.
Yes, yes, yes.
We're
And
excited. Like, I want
We
y'all to
are.
know we are like lit up. Like, I mean, there's some things that we have to really look at and evaluate, even in the U.S. That right now we don't even have an accrediting body for Islamic institutions, right? So there is an accrediting body. There are not many accrediting bodies for higher learning in the U.S. Period, right? It's not. I mean, it's like double digit, lower double digit. I think around 12. So I'm saying this is real.
Wow.
And so, you know, there's a accrediting body for other institutions. Even our tuition, they have accrediting bodies. But there isn't one for Islamic education, right? There isn't one. And right now, people are delivering out degrees. They are delivering out Islamic institute. They're delivering out Islamic studies degrees, right? And with instructors that none of them are Muslim. I mean, evaluate that. Some are delivering them out where some of the instructors might be Muslim, but then they can't use Quran. How? How? Tell me, how do you deliver an Islamic studies degree and you can't use Quran?
Wow.
But I'm saying it's for the Muslim to now qualify even their programs. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying I don't care if it's Harvard, I don't care if it's Yale, I don't care if it's Princeton, I don't care if it's Brown, you name every Ivy League institution that you want to, and you go to their institution and they want to deliver out a degree and talk about Islamic law, you can deliver out those degrees without delivering out what it truly means in Islam. So our goal is to qualify ourselves and therefore be qualified to do this. Right? You don't just get to do it. And please note, in the United States, Muslims are in number and in influence. And then therefore, there are going to be things that need to happen in the United States for this population of people, even in the legal systems. So that means, so how do we dictate and say, oh, now this is true? Do we leave it to people evolving ideas of al-Islam out of these really newfangled ideas in the U.S. of liberation, right? Well, all this liberal thinking and oh yeah, in al-Islam you can do this and you can do that and yeah, this is okay. No, it's not. Like we you know what I'm saying? We don't fall into that scope, and it is our responsibility to make sure it doesn't go there.
That's
right?
right.
So it really, it's just, you know, we are, I know I stay fired up. I tell people, I know it doesn't matter if nobody sees it. I see it. I see, even if you look at the number of physicians that consider themselves Muslim, you go on average to any institution, any place of learning in physicians and hospitals, and how often do you get a Muslim physician? Right? How often? Let's be real, right? And we have no hospital that is based in Quran in the U.S. You got St. Vincent, St. John, you got all of these institutions. You got Baptist systems. You have all of these institutions. They're based religious. And then here we are, we're delivering out positions under that idea. No, I'm saying that can't be the case, but it's okay because it's waiting on the African American.
Yes.
You know what,
Yes.
Sister Nix,
Yes.
I have to read this to you all. This is from Imam Muhammad. He said, the future of our children depends on our ability to step up off the muck and mire of America's idea of education and walk with the legs of our own thinking that finds its base in Quran and the life of Prophet Muhammad.
I mean,
exactly. That's it.
That's it. That's it right there. That's
all right,
it.
this is my last statement. This is my last statement. So because she just said that, and it made me think of something. So as sister, because we're going off of each other all day, right? And sometimes we don't have to talk to each other. We come together and our minds are already linked, right? We come back and we're thinking about the same thing, we're saying the same thing. It's like, yep, that's it. So we don't want to even deliver out degrees in the same manner and deliver out education in the same manner as delivered out now. So if you all know anything about even some of the Ivies, there are some of them that some students have to fail. The way they have their grading system situated, meaning their sliding systems, meaning that whoever got the highest grade, that's an A. And whoever got the lowest grade is, guess what? It's a failing. Even though the grade in and of itself is a pass. I'm saying this is real. These are real systems, right? What kind of system sets up where it delivers out a quote unquote fail for a student that didn't really fail? Right? And then if you're telling me that this is a fail and there is no way for this person not to fail despite their effort because they didn't wind up at the top, then you don't understand education. See, in Al-Islam, education is never about the completion of a thing. It's about the evolution of the thing. So we were at Camp Khalil. I was at Camp Khalil recently, and Imam Hanif, right, who's the co-founder of Camp Khalil, right? He was talking to the young people. He was explaining to them. He said, business is different than education. He said, in business, when you fail, they tell you you're closer to success, right? So when you fail in business, nobody ever tells you, oh, it's the end. You might as well stop now. It's all over. You just didn't do it. No. Every business person, every outstanding business person, every single successful entrepreneur, they will tell you they failed numerous times before they succeeded in the thing. And they tell you in order to succeed, you have to move through failure. And they never look at their failures as quote unquote true failures. Every single one of them was a learning experience that allowed them to actually exist in successfully, right? Well, in education, they tell you differently. If you make an F, it's like, oh my God, you failed, right? Instead of saying you actually progressed more, you know more now than when you started. Even though you may not be at this point of mastery of the thing, you still progress. And that's all you have to do is just keep going. But if you stop, you will never reach this point of mastery. So it's not about pass or fail, and everybody's progress and everybody's pace of progress is different. So there's no need for me to put you with someone else and say, according to this person and their speed, when I relate them to you, you failed. But when you relate me to my own self, my own effort, my own striving, my own progress, I was achieving the whole time. So even as we move inside of producing this system, changing the thought process of education. And we never, in Al-Islam, we never get to a point. When you do an ijaza, even in calligraphy, if you study it, they will tell you I'm saying the highest pinnacle of calligraphers. There's one in Istanbul. He said, if your writing is off by even the belly of a flea, I want you all to think of a flea, and then I want you to think of a belly of a flea. He said, if your writing is off by even the width of the belly of a flea, the stomach of a flea is what he said, then the calligraphy is ugly. That's what he said.
Wow.
This is awful calligraphy. This is the level of exactness that he's saying is required. He said, so what happens is you evolve to a point where now you can be considered a master, but you will never evolve to the point of completion. Isn't that the case for art? Isn't that how we know in Edison? You never evolve to a point where you've learned everything that Allah has.
Never.
Doesn't happen. But you can arrive at points of mastery of certain things, but you know that there is more for you to learn. So this is why even how we approach, how we will be putting together degrees and how we will be progressing people is that we will give that level and language and understanding inside of education. This is not about completion. This is about evolution. This is about progress. And it is about not giving up. It is about knowing that even when you know, you will never know everything. It is that level of humility that we have to bring to education and knowing that Allah is the only thing that exists and knows all and doesn't require anything else to know it.
Yeah, that's it.
That was my last thing. Okay, that's why I dropped the mic.
No, that's it. I mean,
I'm picking up the mic and I'm holding on now. I'm holding on.
That is it, Sister Anissa. You know, we have to change our whole frame of thinking.
Yes.
You know, Imam Muhammad said we cannot produce Western philosophy and ideas as our base of knowledge.
No.
We cannot do that.
No.
And it doesn't mean you have to throw away everything you got from your studies in the university, but it cannot serve as our base of knowledge.
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. I mean,
NewFreedom. NewFreedom.
Yes, exactly. No, that's what it is.
We liberate education. We liberate education.
No, that's what it is. That's what it is. This is what it is. And we are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for, allowing us to sit with you all this evening. And then the marvelous work that the Institute here that you all are working on is, I mean, like I said, for the people who are watching, like, this is what's going on. People, this is what's going on. We want to bring you what's going on because this is how people stay informed. And there's a lot of good that's going on in our community. A lot.
It is.
A lot. And just, you got to get in when you fit in. And these are so many programs, so many institutes now for Quranic Arabic in our community. I mean, you just start one, research them, figure out which one may work for you or which one is best, because everyone has a different, maybe, way to teach it, instead of saying a different method to teaching, and it may fit your mode of learning, So I definitely encourage people who watch tonight, the CMS network, the Institute of Quran, the Islamic Learning Institute here. You have two institutes doing marvelous work. Please, find your way to support them. Get enrolled, volunteer, do whatever it takes, because this is where our building towards the New Africa model, and we can't do it without us supporting these institutions. Can't do it.
Amen.
So that's my marketing for tonight. For those who are watching, share this information. And one thing too, Allah has blessed these sisters, man. He's blessed these sisters, and it comes from the tradition of the Prophet. Lady Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she was a scholar. They used to come to her after the Prophet died. They said, "What did the Prophet say? Is this right?"
Yes.
So we are. I mean, there's no society is built upon. There's no successful, sustainable society without having successful women. You know what I'm saying? And no successful leader has been successful without a woman behind him.
Yes.
This is a fact. So, Allah has blessed us with the sisters. These sisters are not. They don't hold their tongue. They're not with that other stuff. They don't hold their tongue. None of these three sisters here on this screen hold their tongue. I'm just telling you.
We're patient.
No, Allah's blessed them, immensely. So thank you, sisters. We really appreciate your time tonight. Really
Alhamdulillah.
do.
Thank you for the
Alhamdulillah.
invite.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate the opportunity to be with you all this evening.
Yes.
Sister Marsha,
Check
you have
us
anything to
out.
say?
Check us out, inshallah.
Yeah, go to
Check them out.
www.islamicli, that's L-I for Lee, IslamicLI.org. Check us out.
Yes.
All
Open
right.
enrollment right now for our fall semester.
You
Yes.
heard it right here on New Freedom Exchange. Again, thank you so much, sisters, for being with us this evening, having this discussion with us. I just want to sort of reiterate for those who are watching, you need a toolkit for yourself, you need a
Yes.
toolkit for your babies, and we talked
Yes.
about all
Yes.
of that tonight.
Yes.
Both with Dr. Patricia
Mhm.
and the sisters that you see before you, Sister Nadia and Sister Anissa. So, stop trying to make it through life without your backpack.
Ameen.
Get the tools and make it happen and really do some amazing things, because that's really, what it allows you to do when you have a good foundation, is that you get to really connect with the natural world in a way that creates some amazing things that people never even expected, and it will even amaze yourself.
Yes.
So I'm all
Ameen.
for learning more and doing more and being a model for each other and for those who sort of see us work, watch us work, because we about to do it.
Ameen.
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 That's it. And
Alhamdulillah.
that's a wrap. That's a wrap for us. We're thankful for Allah for you all, those who are our listeners and subscribers. So please subscribe to New Freedom Exchange on YouTube, like us on Facebook, New Freedom Exchange. We're also going to close out here with the Muslim Journal promo. As we gotta support our institutions, all of our institutions. So if you don't have your subscription to the Muslim Journal, go ahead and go online, muslimjournal.net, and get yourself a subscription to the Muslim Journal. So until next time, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Legacy, brothers and sisters, let's celebrate. Legacy, Muslim Journal, 60 years today. Legacy, our history, our perspective, our way. Legacy, Islam is our path, success away. Legacy, visit muslimjournal.net online. Legacy, text sponsor the 999. Legacy, 999. Legacy, muslimjournal.net online. Legacy, brothers and sisters, let's celebrate. Legacy, Muslim Journal, 60 years today. Legacy, our history, our perspective, our way. Legacy, Islam is our path, success away. Legacy, visit muslimjournal.net online. Legacy, text sponsor the 999. Legacy, 999. Legacy, muslimjournal.net online.